welcome everybody here this morning. We've come to honor Scott and his life. I'm thankful for those who have provided flowers, those who are doing music, Paul Watkins, Sister Sherry Miller. We're going to begin our services today by singing hymn number 124, Be Still My Soul, after which Kennedy Jones will be giving the opening prayer.
To have a common bond. We ask that the Spirit will be with us as we remember and celebrate. That it's gone, but our happy that he's no longer in anything. We're thankful for eternal and amazing the knowledge that we will be together again. We ask for peace and comfort at this time.
Thank you. The program will proceed as follows. We will hear a live sketch by Kylie Holt, then a musical number from the grandchildren, I Am a Child of God. Then the sons, Trevor, Tanner, and Taylor Porath will share memories. Another musical number, a piano medley by Diana Jones. And then Joe Richmond will speak to us. We'll go to that.
Probably about a month ago, my dad said to me, I would ask you to do my Yule Gagi or whatever, right? No, but I can do your eulogy, so here I am. Scott passed away on Sunday peacefully in his home in Mendon, Utah. He loves Mendon so much. It's beautiful and has always had a special place in his heart. Scott fought hard until his last breath, just as he battled cancer over these previous 8 years. He had 9 lives and had 0 plans of wasting any of them. He will be missed every single day, but we feel peace knowing that he's now free of pain. At peace, and can move on to his next mission. He told us when he came home from the hospital on Monday that he was at peace, and he had just been fighting for so long. And he's always wanted to serve a mission, another mission, so now he can. Scott was born in Long Beach, California, and moved to Utah as a toddler. He graduated from Skyview High School in 1977. He served a full-time mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the Connecticut Hartford Mission from 1977 to 1979. His service was mainly in New York, and he participated in the Hill Climber pageant. He had a trip planned back, I think it was 2020, to go see it before they ended it, but it was postponed and postponed and he never made it back. But his mission president stated, Elder Porath is a very hard worker and one who follows through until the job is finished. He enjoys a challenge and moves ahead with difficult assignments with a high degree of faith and confidence. He has always been firm in his testimony of the gospel, and I've admired his dedication and his unwavering testimony. He's just such a strong person. Scott attended Utah State University and met Patty Jones, now McCarty. They were married in 1984 and had 5 children. And he loves us kids. And spending quality time to him, that was his love language. Just being there, it doesn't matter what you were doing, you were sitting next to him watching his shows. He was so happy. He was always there to support us in all that we did, continually showing his love for us. Even after I got married, my husband races a lot and he would drive down south to be there for these early morning marathons or half marathons. My dad and my mom were married for 9 years, and he was single for 9 years before meeting his eternal companion and needed twins. Scott and Anita were married on December 5th, 2002, and sealed June 25th, 2004, in the Logan, Utah temple. He loved having a big family and also loved his dogs. His dad's funeral, my grandpa's funeral, he got up and he said, "Sorry kids, but I love Zuko just as much as you." And Zuko's name comes from his two previous dogs, Zeus and Coco. So they've always been his best buddies. Scott has demonstrated a commendable ability to persevere even when faced with hardships. He was a genuine warrior, tough and resilient, while also compassionate and tender. He has always faithfully served the Lord and had many callings in the church. His most recent calling was serving in the Logan LDS Temple. He loved it so much that he was even willing to shave off his goatee. We had never seen him without at least some facial hair until then. He was heartbroken when he was released, and it was due to cancer. Even on days when Scott was weak or in a lot of pain, he still figured out a way to work. He said, "I can still do anything, just at a slower pace." And he would just push through. Throughout his career, he worked at Vitacall, Autowave, American Monument, and Porath. Each job brought him joy and the ability to travel and meet new people. He loved being at American Monument. He would travel around to different towns and was able to install headstones. He told us that he had many spiritual experiences with those people who had passed, that he was able to, serve them and put their headstone in for them. He felt at home working at Newport. He had his group of buddies and he felt valued and he loved the work that he did there. He's maintained those friendships over the years. I was at his house when they called to say goodbye, and he loved hearing from them. He was really sad when he wasn't able to work at Newport anymore. He missed seeing everybody. He spent all of his time and energy since then, over the last few years, building a wonderful tree house for his grandkids. It is his pride and joy. He thought out through all of the details. He can tell you where all of the wood came from, his ideas behind everything. Those who know Scott know he is valiant and virtuous, stubborn and witty. He's frugal, very creative, and can do rid anything. He loved to go camping, travel, try new things, and cook. When we go camping, he would make Dutch oven meals for everybody, and quite often he would invent recipes as he would go along. Sometimes they turned out better than others. He loved being outside, gardening, building. He was a kid at heart, truly one of a kind. He had this excitement for all the little things in life. Scott is going to be extremely missed by many. Cancer took so much from him. We're so grateful he doesn't have to suffer in his mortal body any longer. Everyone at the Huntsman Cancer Institute loves Scott. They might have taken a little warming up, but once they figured it out, they love him. We love and appreciate Dr. Subora and his whole team of doctors, nurses, and everyone there that cared for him. We couldn't have gotten through his cancer journey without the loving and caring staff. Scott lived his way, Dr. Porath said. He never let anything hold him back. He was not afraid of life or what it would throw at him. Scott is survived by his wife, Anita, and children, Trevor, and Nancy Johnson, Porath, Kylie and Jason Holt, Tanner and Kelsey Porath, Kinsey Spots, and Taylor Porath and Brittany Hunt. His stepchildren, Jeremy and Lacey Richmond, Kennedy and Jake Jones, and Angela Richmond. And his many grandchildren that he loved dearly. Also his mom, Marilyn Jones, his brother Russ and Brenda Porath, his sisters Dylan Porath and Sherry and Keith Miller, and Diane Jones. His step-siblings and stepmom, Sharon Porath, and last but not least, his dog, Zuko. During one of his final days, well, the whole week that he was home, his dog kept going up to him and just wanted to be petted. She knew that it was his time. His death was preceded by his father, Richard Sherman Porath, stepson Derek Richmond, stepdaughter Michelle Richmond, stepfather Tom Jones, and his grandson Bryson Porath. Also his dogs Coco and Zeus. We know there have been glorious reunions with these loved ones. Okay, now I'm going to share a memory, and it was hard to pick one or decide what to say. But what comes to mind are all of the trips I would take with mom, because spending time together was so important to him. I swear we road trip anywhere in my head when I was growing up. We did a dog pile in the Four Corners, and we went to the Grand Canyon, Moab, Tennessee, so many awesome places. We went to Canada a few months after I got home from my mission, and I had gained a lot of weight, and I was on a journey to lose some weight, and I was wanting to go on a run. And he said, well, anyway, okay, so we were staying in these condos, and it was like a really woodsy place. I don't know, we're like in the mountains. We would like go on hikes and explore the trail a lot. And so when I told my dad that I wanted to go on a run, he wanted to come with me. So we basically like ran up the mountain. It's like a trail run. And it was wet and slippery, but it was so much fun. And we'd stop and like hike when we needed to, and then just run down the hill. We got so muddy, but it was such a neat experience to be with him in nature and doing something active. He told me, he's like, I may be old and fatter than I used to be, but I can still keep up. My dad always wanted to do it all in man because he's strong-willed. In Hawaii this past September, my husband jumped like off a cliff into the water on the road to Hana, and my dad was determined to do it. We made him be patient. That's always been hard for him. Well, we figured out like, okay, after you jump, how do I need to back up the cliff? So we figured it out, and he jumped, and he was so happy. He held his hands up and said, see, I knew I could do it. He did life. He's amazing, and so much, but I know I get to see it happen someday.
so you guys can understand me. Might do that. So the memories that we have, there's a lot, and it's hard to share specific ones. But one thing that these all have in common is you like to be with family, and on all these trips you would live in a moment, do what you wanted. That seemed like you always wanted to go back and live that moment again with the family. So you see them, on the phone, the pictures of that time that you literally just experienced. And because you wanted to go back, be with your family, and share the joy and adventure with everyone. So every time went, every night, you go through the pictures. You make me send all the pictures I took to him, and every night I can see him going through the pictures over and over again. Went to the out trip. He always wanted to do something crazy. Hawaii was jump off a cliff. Lake Powell was jump off the houseboat. And I thought it was a front flip he was trying to attempt onto a paddleboard. He was having a hard time balancing at the time, so we knew that wasn't going to go well. But he had everything for the first half of the trip. But he tried doing that front flip onto a paddleboard. And he was, laid down for a little bit for the rest of the trip. So, he wanted to go 100%. It was his body that kept him all the time. Another one of my memories. Luckily, we didn't have phones, so I could go through the pictures later. We were in Canada. I don't know how long ago. It was the first Canada trip. We were all on a hike as a family, and we had to go on nothing. They didn't just go on a hike. So we were walking down a natural spring. It was a spring with a waterfall coming down. And he says, we're going to swim in that. And we're on a hike, and there's like a golf course and stuff all around us. And we didn't know if we could even get in that water. And he's like, what are we going to do? Kick us out? So we all just went swimming right into that hot spring and had the time of our lives. We walked back to our hotel dripping wet because our clothes were all wet. But just always going to 100% on every experience was great and a good lesson. So.
He asked me to talk about how he loved going to different sporting events with me and his grandchildren. And so one that I heard that is very special is one we were on a Real Salt Lake game. Him and his dad, and got a picture of me, my grandpa, and him with my son. And they were both so happy to have 4 generations there at Real Salt Lake game. And he just loved going and hanging out with us at those games and cheering for the teams and being with family. Another one of his favorite ones was a few years ago. It was also, my grandpa was there for it. It was a hockey game where you could take your dogs to the hockey game. So we were with Zeus at the time, and you got to go out on the ice with Zeus if you were trying to see who the biggest dogs were. Zeus came in second. The other one had a little more hair, so it looked bigger. And then this last year, we were planning to go to that beach on the pond again, but we had the tickets there, and we just got real sick that night, so he was not able to go. And he was told to tell everybody he was really sad not to go to that game. He was really excited to go, so we were there for him.
So I was asked to also share a memory in the poem that I wrote for my dad. There are so many great memories of him that it's really hard to pick. But I'll pick the one that I always brag about my friends about. Whenever I see a house with a flat roof, I always just think about my dad would take us up there and we'd camp. You pull a TV up there, electrical cords, and we'd have the whole yard, beds and everything. You know, just like Terry said, you use everything 100%, whatever you can. And it's incredible what you can do with stuff like that. I knew that he knew how to use what he had to make something better. He built his own house, and worked on most of it pretty much, and the unique tree house in the back. And, you know, those are things that I didn't even know where to begin. Found ways to make us taller for rides in the lagoon and face our fears and be strong through tough times. Back to the roof, I was too afraid to get down, and my dad knew that it's good to face your fears. So what he decided to do was tell me to go through it, let's make it easier on me. So he just grabbed my arms and dangled me off, just threw me on the trail. And it was good for me. All of this came with a unique sense of humor that he passed on to all of us by being himself. I am, and we are all different from the experience we got to share with my father. I may be a bit of a weirdo, but when I hear you, it makes me smile because I know it's a part of him that lives on with me. And this is the poem that I wrote. A vision seen, my hands will work. My brow is sheen and a heart is smirk. The path is unclear, that never stopped me before. I fight through the fear, and I can ask for more. With God as my light, and my family with me, I've worked through the night if it helped them with safety. With a gleam in my eyes and a presence of love, I'll shelter you from the skies and sorrows you would be empty of. All the laughs I remember and the memories we share, I hold in my center, guarded stronger than air. I miss you already, and pain is coming back. My heart is real heavy, but I won't let it break my stand. I know you are there, just in a different way. So I will not despair. Your love I will convey. Thank you.
I had Haley come up with me because I figured maybe she can help give me the strength I need. I get really nervous, and it's a trait that I've always been good at is agreeing to something that I didn't think I'd have to do for quite a while. So I didn't. And here it is. But I'm not good at reading things, and so I just put down a lot of stuff, but I hope I can be organized and do the best I can to kind of go through this. So bear with me and see if I can make some sense out of my thoughts. But I think one of the things when I first think about Scott is his work ethic. I don't think that Scott knew how to do anything that wasn't to the very best you could possibly do it. Any task it would, whether it be physical, mental, family, or it didn't matter. He had to do it the hardest he could. He had to do it the best. And I think one of his favorite things was he loved to help family. And in fact, I know several times that he probably should have been the one there helping move. And he's the one out there trying to haul everything in that we should probably you know, Scott, let's have someone else here help out. I mean, he's gonna do it, he wants to help out and make sure he's there. And he just loved to serve. If it was for the Lord, if it was for anyone, the family, kids, he was there. And I think, especially me and my siblings moving so much, I think that he probably moved the same item about 3 or 4 times for each of us because we always were moving around. He was always there and wanted to help. And it didn't matter the past of what he needed for service. God was always one that you could rely on when it came to service. He loved to serve. I remember I built a house years ago and they were putting a sprinkler system in and we had to dig a hole and it was just something that people aren't really excited to volunteer. It's like, yeah, I want to dig a hole that's 6 feet deep when we can help you. But we had to dig a hole down to get to the water line, the main water line to tie in to put the sprinkler system in. And Scott was the very first one to show up with the shovel. And we had to dig down 6 feet to get to it. And it wasn't fun, but it didn't bother him one bit. It got digging down, there's water everywhere. We were trying to figure out how to pump up the water to get down there, and it never once made him go negative or complain about the water. It was just, we're there and we're digging this hole so we can tie into the water lines. And I just sat there thinking, about how it doesn't matter what work it is. If someone needed it, he was there to help. He was there to help. It didn't matter. And then I kind of thought about something over the years when I said, if you were to tell Scott to dig a hole 6 feet deep, 6 feet wide, 6 feet deep, and you didn't tell him why, you said I needed 6 feet deep, it would be 6 feet. It would not be a 16th of an inch less, it would be 6 feet deep. And he always tried to do everything to the best of his ability. And I don't think I've ever ran into anybody that was as hard a worker as he was. When he was out there working at building systems, there was people that were coming up and saying, they're asking how old he was, and because it was usually a bunch of younger kids that would go out there and clean up the yard, pick up the rocks, and do the yard work and mow the lawn, and he just absolutely loved it. He's out there on I don't know much about lawnmower, but he was telling me all about it. He was so excited about it. He knew about what it was. He loved to mow the lawn there at Newport, and then he would go and pick up all the rocks and the weeds around the plant. And people were saying they were discovering parts of the plant they didn't know existed because he had it so clean. We didn't even know there was rocks back in that corner. Where did all those come from? And he didn't need to be told what to do. He just, like he said, I want to make this place look good. He was on it. He had to take care of it. And it was pretty rewarding to sit there and hear everyone talk about how this guy out here he's outrunning the guys in their 20s. He's making everyone that's young. And it was just so fun to have that opportunity to work with them over there. And then, because he worked so hard, it wasn't hard for him to get his other positions opened up. It was easy for him to get onto a different job, move around. He could move pretty much wherever he wanted there because his work ethic, everyone knew that you could count on him. And so it was fun it was really fun to have that opportunity to work with him and see some of that and see how far that got him. One of the things Scott makes me so happy about, and I think about this, when I was 17 years old, my mom was getting married, and I was nervous, I was scared. Most people think, they don't think about their parents. parents getting divorced or any of that, so after going through that, now I'm having a stepdad, what does this mean, what does this look like, and I wasn't upset, but I was just confused and scared, I didn't know, it was a very new, it was an experience for me that I hadn't gone through, and I think like a lot of this, anything new or anything that we have to go through is new, it's a little challenging, but with Scott, the thing that made it so easy for me was the love he showed my mom. And I've heard people talk about, when you're on a date, you just pull out their chair, open their door, but Scott never stopped opening the door for my mom. It wasn't just during the courting stage, it was walked up to a building or a restaurant, he's opening the door for my mom. Our going anywhere, he just was naturally trying to do things that showed his love for my mom. And it was fun talking to my mom. There's a lot of things I learned about that I didn't even know that was just so fun and fun to hear about. It just made me so, I felt so blessed that I had the opportunity to not just get to know Scott, but I got a second dad to help me learn things that I was able to get two different perspectives. I was able to learn from, my biological father, and now I have a bonus dad that was able to teach me a lot of stuff that he knew. And it was so fun to learn so much from him. I can't even think of it. He taught me so many things that I never would have known. And some of the things that he taught me, I wouldn't even realize how big of an impact they had on me until later on in my life. But one of the things he did that I loved, that I found out about, is he would write notes on the mirror. So when you get up and go to work early, I guess in the bathroom, I'm reading a word, my mom was taught that they would have a mirror, he would write love notes in there and leave them there. Because my mom would get up about an hour later or so, and so every time she'd wake up, she'd see the note from Scott that was on the mirror, and I thought, it's these small things that really help keep a marriage and keep the love. And it's not always a big thing we have to do. He knew the importance of trying to make sure that my mom knew he loved her. And she meant everything to him. And he was, there's so many things that he went above and beyond to make sure that was known. And as being a kid when I was younger, 17 years old, I'm sure my parents got a few gray hairs for me and my choices in life. But and I'm sure Scott had a lot of fun getting to know a lot of the things we were going through, and I'm sure it was fun to see something that me and my siblings did the best things my mom at the time to have. I think we didn't really make it a walk in the park, be a parent for us, but Scott got to see a lot of that and try to be there for my mom and us and support her, but because I saw how much he loved my mom and how much she meant to him, it wasn't hard to accept that. And it was, I don't think there's any better way it could have ever happened for somebody that scared the kids, scared and learning about mixed families. Scott knew how to do it because he didn't treat us any different. We were all the same family. And I didn't know how hard that was at the time. I didn't understand that until years later down the road with that slide. put in an example. But I just, sometimes when I think about all the stuff he did, it makes me think how much respect he had for women. What it meant to do the right thing. And I sit and think about that sometimes when we're going out to eat. I'm just getting out and running to the door. You know, there's a lot of things I've seen from him that I think, I want to do that. I want to hold on to these simple things that go a long ways in life. We are big difference. I get nervous, I can't. It was fun to be able to work with Scott on a few jobs. And I love that. It was 19 years old. He was trying to get me on working with him at Ottawa. And I remember that he was willing to really put a good word in for me and try. He really was excited to try to help me get on, and he's got kind of that strong personality. When he's got his mind made up, he's gonna let him know exactly how he is. He's not afraid to let you know how he feels about something. And that's something else I can get better at. I think a few chapters in his book, because he's just so good at just saying how it is. And pretty much told them, you need to hire him. And then they didn't hire me the first go around, and he goes, why did you not hire him? You need to hire him, and you'll hire him. And at the time, it did more for me because I didn't have enough conflict. Why should they hire me? Maybe I'm not good. But he really enjoyed doing a lot of things at work that was fun. He liked to make work fun. And I remember his favorite thing to do at Ottawa was the area he was at, they would bring out the explosive material to the base where we would pack in the little initiators. So they would haul the powder in. One of the things you got to do when you're hauling it around, you got to yell out powder so people know to keep the area clear. That's the way Scott did it. Was his favorite way to do it is he would open the door and yell out powder so loud where everybody in the room would think he needed to go to the bathroom and clean themselves out. He loved to just scare everyone so bad. That was a highlight, I think, of several days of his life. He loved to scare everybody. And he would do that so many times, and he'd sit and think, oh, he's not going to get me this time now. I think he got me at least 3 or 4 times. And I don't know how many other people that would scare their work, but he made work fun. And even at working at Newport, he was just so, he was always laughing and smiling and trying to do the best job. And he got along with everybody. Everybody was just so excited to work with him. I don't know anybody that walked up and had a hard time with things. Everyone loved to work with him because of his attitude. He made work fun. And work doesn't have to be, I gotta go to work. He really made it something else. I think he taught a lot of people that, it doesn't have to be that way. You can go to work and have fun and get along and build relationships. I don't know how many people's lives he touched from his perspectives and his openness to talking to people about things. I know that there was a lot of people that he was able to talk about his beliefs on. God's got a testimony that I just look up to so tremendously. I look at things at times in my life and I can sit there and think how this is hard, or this isn't fair. And Scott is never had his faith dwindle. His faith has always been strong without the gospel and the things he loved. If all the trials he went through, it didn't shrink his testimony, it grew. And his example of what he did when things were hard in life was he would ponder on things. When you would go work on that tree house, I think we love that tree house. And when you started building it, we didn't quite know what to expect. If you were seeing it go up. One thing I've seen about Scott is he to do something and not have, he's never done it, he won't have a clue how to do it. And he just starts looking at things, reading things, and he's like, I'm gonna build a tree house. Now there's a tree house there. And it's nice, it's fine. But there was times where he did not get up and walk around very good because he was just so ill that day and week. And I remember going out there one time to talk to him, and he's on the top, and he didn't have enough strength to walk up and down, so he's laying on the floor, and he's just able to hammer in nails where he was at. And that's all the strength he had to do that day. But instead of laying in bed, he went out there and worked on the treehouse. But while he was out there, he was always playing some talk. Things that he loved that made him. He said, this is what makes me get through the day. This is what makes me happy in life. Is to play his favorite talks. And I saw that, and that meant a lot to me to see how somebody that's had quite a bit of trials in life, he didn't let it define it. He didn't let it affect him. He made, I don't know if he made the best out of it, but I don't know how many people were affected by it, because when I would see everything that he would do, it just sat there and told me, I automatically reflect on what I do. What can I do to make sure that I'm not just going into a pity party for myself and giving up? And what can I do to be like Scott? Go out there and do, even if it's something small, do something that day. And he didn't let anything, he never would let anything slow him down or define him. He was just, I love Scott's testimony and his strength and his love for the gospel. Just talking to him, whenever I'm having a really hard time and I'm not feeling good, I would love to go over to my mom because the Spirit was there. That's what God, that was what they were focused on. They wanted to keep the Spirit in the house. And I just found that going over there was a safe presence. It helped me through my head. It was peaceful to me. And that they created that. I just absolutely love it. But some of the things that was funny, Scott, I don't know if I could ever even, I could never tell any of his jokes. I wouldn't do good. I would just ruin them. And he's so good at saying things on the fly that I don't even know. I'm not good at coming up with stuff. He would have us laughing pretty easy. But I know a few things that happened that was pretty funny that I remember. I was over there and I got a glass of orange juice and I thought it tasted kind of weird and kept drinking it. I poured another glass and I was like, this orange juice tastes weird. It had a big old thing involved in it. And so Scott thought it was so funny and he remembered it for some reason. He remembered it. and then I don't remember how long it was later, I ate something from a local brand, they had mold on it. So then from there on after, if you ever had a mold, you would save it. So when that came over, you're like, hey, I got something for you, I know this is your favorite type of food. So he would remember that stuff, and it was funny because he'd be like, this orange, you can sit it out for a little bit, it'll be ready for you before you go home. Another thing that was kind of funny, I remember with me and Scott, we were making French dip sandwiches, and they were so good. I don't know who, in fact, we had them a few times, but we would always put cream cheese on the bun, and then, you know, they got you with kind of a mixture of French, Philly cheesesteak sandwich and a French dip. I don't know. We with Scott's house, we just threw stuff together, and we didn't know what it was called. It was good. Well, we were putting cream cheese on it, and me and Scott sat there eating it, and it didn't quite taste right. We didn't know why, but me and Scott both not being picky whatsoever, we just, okay, well, I don't know, we'll just keep eating it. My mom comes in and asks why we're eating all the short. So, and then Scott starts laughing, and I didn't know what short was, so Scott called it lard, and goes, here, we gotta just make sure when we make sandwiches now, Jeremy, we gotta make sure we get the lard too, because apparently that works just as good. And he always, it's funny, he always made us laugh. When he was working in American Monument, I remember we were over there in I don't know if it was a springtime or sometime, but we were in the backyard and there was like 6 or 7 headstones out. And we were kind of wondering what's going on with all the headstones. We thought you guys were gonna start selling plots in the backyard just to make extra money here. But I guess what he was doing is he was getting everything to be effective, and he was gonna make a nice walkway out of all these headstones. But it was just funny to go there and we're just looking at all these headstones with people's names on, we don't even know, but I think he would find anything to find a use for it. He would find a way to use something or make something out of nothing. He was very artistic. I wish I was blessed with some of the skills of being artistic and make something look good like that. If I can paint something and you can guess what it is, that's a win for me. But these tree houses he made, I just couldn't believe it. He would get material from I don't know where, probably everywhere, probably some from work or found some in a barn. I know he would go and help take barns apart because he wanted the wood. He said it was a perfect wood mix with that. And he would just make something look so amazing that I would have never guessed you'd do that with these tree houses, these little mini birdhouses. Birdhouse, tree houses, it was just so amazing to look at it, and I just thought this is something that I pictured someone would make that they doing something like this for years and had all this training, it's phenomenal detail you would get, and I think that's how great it is, and just really good at seeing that stuff, and you walk to the treehouse they have, and you can see his personalities that have everywhere. His personality is just expressed in the treehouse. And it's fun to see so many things he does. He'll think about what the kid wants, so it's gotta have a hammock, we gotta have a swing, and then we gotta have a sit here for the couple to sit out. And it's fun to see how his mind went through everything and he put this together. I don't want to go over too I'm scattered, so I'm just reading this, but. No. When it came to dogs, I think he could go to a different level of dogs and they would just, I think he could seriously talk to them. And they just understand what he's saying, because we have a dog that we've always been nervous. Once you get to know him a little bit, he's good. You know, he's fine, but when he don't know you and for some reason bells, he's really skittish around any bells that come around. And so we would always, whenever we go out of town, we would say, okay, we got a couple packages of hot dogs in here. Just throw this in there, it's like right there, and then you can just go fill the water bowl up. Scott goes in there and just starts petting and talking about it. It blew our mind that we've never had anyone really be able to do that with that dog. And just thought, well, I think Scott really is a dog whisperer too. We were always worried about, you know, that our dog find someone or something, but not, it was fun to see how he connects with animals. He's really good at connecting with animals. But I could go on about so many things that I love about Scott, things that he's taught me. And the biggest thing that Scott taught me is something that has changed my life. I think trying to find the words to say it. Scott has taught me so many things in my life that isn't just temporary lessons I've learned. He's taught me things that will affect me the rest of my life. Things that are skills that will change the relationships. And I know he does with everyone. He loves to teach and help. Me and Scott for a while had some rough go-arounds, and both of us struggled to understand each other for a while, and it was hard. But the thing was the beauty about me and Scott working through everything together, and both of us wanted to not have resentment because of things we had in the past. And Scott wanted to fix it, and I wanted to fix it. I didn't want to hold on to things, but Scott taught me how to look past things and look at who the person really is. Scott taught me to, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what their situations are in life. You don't know the picture. And what he taught me how to do is how to have relationships with people and be loved, because I had so many things to learn, and I found a poem that kind of sums it up of how I feel. And I'm not a good reader, so I asked Haley if she'd read it for me. This is kind of what came to my mind.
Can't touch a book by its cover, for you never know what it's holding inside. You never know whose someone it truly is, for there's so much that we all hide. You can't judge a book by its cover because there's so much that needs to be. There's so much more that needs to be hide. We don't fit in some neat little package. I couldn't even if I tried. We can't judge a book by its cover, though it's something we seem to all know. Just when you think we've got someone figured out, we tend to learn a thing or two. We can't judge a book by its cover because in viewing it, you'll never see what all of its pages have to offer you. You'll never know what the world needs.
I know that working through the trials that we had together made me just love Scott so much, and the blessings that he's had, that I've had, and so many other people have had, to be able to be in his presence is something that I don't know how to ever explain how much it's meant to me, but it's done to me, my family, everyone else. I'm so grateful that my mom was able to find him, and they were able to help each other and be together. Because it was so good for me to see that my mom was okay. Because he took care of her the way that I want your mom to be taken care of. One more, then I promise I'm done. This is just one thing that I just think is just really shows Scott's, it shows Scott's ideas and how they would put things together.
Here's something you can bake that I'm thinking of you, and it's safe to say when I'm interested, when I'm thinking of you, whether it's a short-term investment or a long-term investment. The interest is high, so since I love thinking of you, and since I love thinking of you, I'm going to invest all of my thoughts into just you. I already feel blessed and rich, just from thinking of you. Love, Scott. Yes. Do I have confidence in a good thing or what? Yes. Thanks for being here, Nina. I feel blessed with you in my life.
She worked at a bank, and so that's where he was putting that all together, and that was just before they got married, and I saw that, and I thought that's pretty clever. I guess that's it.
Thank you to all those who participated in our program. I have a few remarks, and then we'll proceed with the closing prayer. In thinking about what I might say, many things come to mind. I learned a lot about Scott, even here at this service. One thing that occurred a few months ago is Scott came. I was talking to Scott after a sacrament meeting. He said, "Well, you know, in a few years, Anita and I can serve a mission." And later I thought, well, we have to do a medical history for that. And Scott has been struggling and such an example of not quitting. I have a poem that I sometimes recite to myself to try and help myself to not quit. But Scott, he lived it to his bones. He didn't have a quitting bone in his body. And one thing that impressed me a lot with Scott in the meeting is how they were always taking advantage of the moment. If there's something that fun that they could do, they would go do it because they didn't know if they had tomorrow. And one that Anita was telling me about just recently is how they had just come to Hawaii, then Mexico, then Alabama, and Scott was already thinking about the next one in Oregon. So when he got his most recent prognosis, he was like, well, okay, so does this mean I can't go to Borneo? Bora, okay.
That means Bora's out.
Bora's out, does that mean Bora's out, that's correct? I always get those mixed up for some reason. Maybe I secretly wanted to orient myself, I don't know. But one thing also that came to mind is I was thinking what I might say is, just how much I know that Scott is loved. I know that he's loved on both sides of the veil. He has people on both sides of the veil who love him. Thinking about also all the trials that he had to face as a bishop, I sometimes get word of all the things that people are going through in the morning. It seems so often that there are things that another thing that Scott is going through, another thing that Anita and Scott are having to face, and it just seemed like an endless list that kept going. So it made me think a little bit about Job. Job from the Old Testament, who, in all the trials that he had to face. Job was a rich man. He lost his property. He lost his children. And then he was afflicted with boils. And he had a lot of reasons to complain, a lot of reasons to think that God had no goodwill for him, or to maybe to be angry with God. So he had questions and wondered why he was ever even born. But then it later appears that he has a change of heart and he trusts the Lord. And he trusts the Lord so much that he says, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. And later, Job declares with magnificent certainty, for I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. Eventually things turned around for Job, and his latter days were made greater than his beginning. I told Scott last Monday that if I was going to speak, I was going to testify on Christ. And he told me that would be appropriate. Job is a type of Christ. Christ was perfect, yet he suffered more than any man can. But because of his atonement, all that is unfair about life can be made right. And like Job, whose latter days were made greater than his beginning, we may all arrive in a place that is greater than our beginning. Is there a reason to hope? My emphatic answer to that is yes. There is reason to hope. There is hope. There's hope in Christ. I love this verse. If this is the only thing you can be hoping for from this meeting, I love these verses from Alma, where he says, now there is a death, which is called a temporal death, and the death of Christ shall loose the bands of this temporal death, that all, it's an important word for me in this verse, all shall be raised from this temporal death. The spirit and the body shall be reunited again in its perfect form. That's another thing. It's always important to me when I read these verses. Our body will be in its perfect form. Both limb and joint shall be restored to its proper frame, even as we now are at this time. We shall be brought to stand before God. I really love another thing that came to my mind is thinking about things to say today. Now President Dan Elder Oak said, the final judgment is not just an evaluation of the sum total of good and evil acts, what we have done. It is an acknowledgement of the final effect of our acts and thoughts, what we have become. I feel that Scott has become something wonderful. There's another verse in Alma, after many righteous people were slain, where it says, and those who have been slain were righteous people. Therefore we have no reason to doubt, but what they were saved. I think of the opportunity I have had to know Scott, and I want to share with you my testimony of the reality of our Savior, Jesus Christ, and whose role in their lives he makes possible the plan and the promises of our Father in heaven to us, that we can live again, and then all will be made right. And I leave that with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. So next, I'd like to read the pallbearers and give a little bit of instruction there. The pallbearers are Trevor Porath, Tanner Porath, Taylor Porath, Jeremy Richmond, Jason Holt, Jake Jones, Russ Porath, and Keith Miller. After the services are concluded, will you please exit the foyers and the casket? The honorary pallbearers, Derek Richmond, Richard Porath, Tom Jones, Alan McGurran, Bruce Anderson, Chris Benton, Jeremy Martin, Josh Van Buchem, and Charlie Goodwin. We will place this service by singing hymn number 165, Abide with Me, 'Tis Even Time, after which Kelsey Porath will give the closing prayer.
Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we're thankful that we could be here in celebration of Scott's life. We're grateful that we were able to come together and go through the trials that he's been through and see how strong he was. Please help us as we go throughout this day and for the rest of our days, that we will may feel comfort and that Anita will feel Scott's love and our love, and that she will know she's not alone. Please help us as we travel to the cemetery, that we'll be safe, and that no harm or accident will come upon us. We love you very much, and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.